Sentients had won. They had turned our weapons, our technology against us. The more advanced we became, the greater our losses. The war was over unless we found a new way. In our desperation, we turned to the void. The blinding night, the hellspace where our science and reason fell. We took the twisted few that had returned from that place. We built a frame around them, a conduit of their affliction. Gave them the weapons of the old ways, gun and a blade. A new warrior, a new code was born. These rejects, these Tennos became our saviors. Gods casted in steel and fury, striking our enemies in a way they could never comprehend. Excalibur was the first.
Okay, welcome guys. This is going to be a new series on this channel called the Tenno Journal. This is going to be about the lore and history of Warframe. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's get straight into this video because I cannot wait. This Codex entry for Excalibur shows where the beginning of Warframe started. The Sentients are an alien race that rebelled against their former master, and not just rebelled. Various Codex entries indicate that Sentients were crushing the Orcan army. So when they seen that they couldn't down any of the Sentients, they didn't know what to do. So in desperate measures, they fled to the void, where they called upon their people referred to as the devils and monsters. These were the Tennos. They turned the tide, pushing the Sentinels all the way out of the system. The Orcan Council had likely already decided that if the Tenno won, they'd be put down. They were too dangerous, too powerful. If they hadn't decided beforehand, the fact a relatively small group of children achieved more than their military could, it scared the living crap out of them. A cool thing within the game, when you go to the derelict, the thing you see that your ship flies into, that right there is also another ship that the Orcans were traveling in to get away from the old war when they were trying to go to the void for protection, but they obviously did not make it. Also, Lephantis, the boss you fight to get all the Necros parts, was made to fight in the old war. In the first cutscene of the game, our Warframe Excalibur wakes up in a transparent state, thus unaware of the Tenno's body and solely aware of the Warframe, with no prior memory and the pod closed in around it. And since transference as a process seems to rather absolutely form a sensory standpoint, the Warframes themselves were Orcan made, and some suspect the Warframes had been invented / discovered prior to the Tenno, but only a Tenno could wield them with any measure of efficiency, as only a Tenno could withstand. And transference, as shown in the Silver Grove, when an Orcan attempted to use the transference, it didn't work out very well for her. So to make this long story short, the Orcan are a humanoid faction in the future that got into a war with the Sentients, which were an alien race that attacked the Orcan. Every weapon they used against the Sentients were taken and used against them in the war until they had to go to desperate measures by running to the void. During the void, they unleashed the Tenno, which they called devils and monsters. The Tenno pushed the Sentients out of the system with the Warframes they now acquired. After that, they wanted to kill the Tenno because they seen how powerful they were, but instead of putting them down, they put them in cryo sleep, and well as the Warframe itself, until Lotus sees that there is a new war about to begin, so she brings you out of the cryo to help win. One last fact about Excalibur is that the symbol on his head and arm reads Hayden Tenno. Hayden Tenno is the name of a character in another game called Dark Sector that Digital Extremes, the maker of Warframe, made at another point in 2008. And in this game we see the first skin of Excalibur. The game Dark Sector was made in 2008, but the game Warframe wasn't made until 2013, and people speculate that Hayden Tenno is a stalker because in the Dark Sector game he was sent to clean up after the operational messes left over the globe. Whether an agent went down or failed an assignment, Tenno had to go in and tie up all the loose ends.
This is Excalibur, a master of gun and blade. Excalibur has uniquely balanced powers for offensive and defensive engagement. Slash dash forces Excalibur forward, ricocheting from one enemy to the next. Radial Blind stuns all enemies in your vicinity. Even the best get surrounded sometimes. Radial Javelin launches deadly blades in all directions. Exalted Blade is a devastating weapon. Every swing of your blade delivers a deadly wave of energy.
I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new about Warframe and the character Excalibur. If you liked what you have just watched, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.